Okay. So it'll be a special day today because we'll do it seated. You know, you just
Okay.
never know where you'll be in life. And so you may find that you're in a place where you don't have much room. So, you know, some of our moves require us to take steps. And if you're in a tiny spot, you're not going to be able to move a lot. So we can always do Tai Chi seated. Or let's just say pretend that you forgot your proper shoes for class and you it's not that you can't do it barefoot. I don't want to say you can't do it barefoot. But there's a danger in being in an environment where you may not know what's on the floor. And you don't want to step on something and hurt your foot. If you're a diabetic, that is especially a problem because you can get sore and it don't heal like it like you might want it, or like somebody who's not diabetic can heal. It's part of that lack of circulation from having diabetes. And so a sore on the bottom of your foot, it can turn dangerous pretty quickly, and it can lead to amputation if you don't take care of it. So when they say that phrase, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, that's no joke. So we do anything that we can to prevent ourselves from having problems. So seated is a good option because we're right here in this space, and we don't have to worry about so much what's on the floor as if we were moving. But you can look down and just do a little inspection of what's below your feet now, if you want to take off your shoes. Okay, so we still want to warm up just like we do if we were standing. And you can march your feet in place, or you can tap your toes, then tap your heels. So it's kind of a marching motion to tap heel, tap toe. If lifting your leg up and down is tiresome. So whatever you do, you don't even have to completely pick them up off the floor. Our goal is to just get some blood flowing, to get our bodies warmed up. So we open and close our hands, pump our arms. I just caught myself having a little bit of a bad posture moment, and I was reminded to check my posture. Even when I'm seated, I want to have my feet about shoulder width apart, and I want to have that good posture. So we're not getting our bodies nice and warmed up. Marching in place can be more tiresome when we're seated than if we were walking around the room. And it's because our legs are starting at a 90-degree angle. And when we come up, you see right here, that motion, that's as if I were standing and I was lifting my leg up. So you see, that's a pretty big motion. Takes a lot of flexibility of our hips and a lot of strength in our leg muscles. So it doesn't take long to get warmed up whenever we're seated, does it?
That's right. You can feel it right in your stomach. You know, your mid right in the stomach. You can feel that when you're sitting.
I feel my leg muscles just burning as as I march in place from seated. And I don't get that when I'm just walking around the room.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to start with our neck, and it's similar to what we do when standing. So our hands are to our side. We're going to bring our hands up, palms down, towards our chin and chest. Push away from our bodies, and then watch those hands come all the way down. So you feel a slight stretch in the back of your neck. Bring those hands up towards our chin and chest. Push away and follow those hands all the way down. Inhale as you come up, and then exhale as you get ready. We all breathe at different rates. The other one, for our neck, we put one hand down here by our hip. You can rest it in your lap. The other hand, we follow as we look towards that shoulder. Feel that nice stretch in our neck and come back to front. Switch our hands and follow this hand as you look towards the side. Back to the front. Switch. Change hands. Hopefully you feel that nice stretch in your neck. We don't have to go as far as we can go. We just go until we feel that stretch. And the more we do this, the more flexible our neck becomes. All right, let's take our hands to our side and roll our shoulders forward. And then roll them back. Just small circles, think size of a quarter as you rotate those shoulders. Forward, we always do forward first. And then when we rotate back, it helps reset our posture. So before I go to our spine, I'm going to turn my chair to the side and show you how I'm seated in this chair. So I am not leaned back, just having a comfy, nice day. I'm sitting more at the edge of the seat. And you know what feels comfortable for you. You don't want to be so far up in the seat that you're going to slip out or you're going to flip the chair. So, I mean, you're still covering half the seat, but you're scooted up in a little bit. And you're definitely to where your feet touch the floor. One thing I like about this chair is it sits low to the floor. There are some chairs, and I don't have any here to show you an example, but there are some chairs where, I mean, if I sit back in the chair, my feet are dangling in the air just like a child. So that's how you know how to pick a good chair for exercise, is that it's low enough or high enough or a good height where your feet touch the ground. So that helps give you more stability. So even though when you're seated, when you're standing, I talk about being in a nice stable stance where your feet are about shoulder width or hip width apart. That's still the case whenever you're seated. So we're not putting our feet together. We're not just laying them out front. We're not out wide. Nice hip width distance. And also, we're conscious of our posture. So just like when we're standing, we think about a string that pulls up and down to give us that nice posture. And our shoulders are relaxed. We're not holding any tension there. So many of the rules of standing Tai Chi translate to seated Tai Chi. So I just wanted to show you from the side that we're still worried about posture, and we're still worried about this stable stance where our feet are about shoulder width or hip width apart. All right, so to our spine stretch. So we have our ball. The hand that's on top is going to push down towards the ground, keeping that soft bend in our elbow. And this hand is going to come up and push up towards the ceiling. So we're stretching that spine. Coming back to our ball and switch. So the other hand's going to push up and the other hand's pushing down. So you should feel some nice stretching in your back as you separate those hands. In terms of breathing, inhale as you come to that ball and exhale as you push those hands apart. That's just a general good example on how to do the breathing with it. Inhale as you come to the ball, and exhale as you separate. One more time. Inhale, come to the ball. Exhale as you separate. This next movement is for our spine, but we go side, switch our hands to side to stretch those muscles horizontally. Now notice I only went this far. It was just above this leg. I didn't go way over here. If I were to go way over here, I can feel this part of my body come off the chair and start turning over. That can increase my chances of falling out of my chair, and that's not what we're trying to do here. So we come just above that leg, then we switch our hands and turn that torso as we come back across, stopping just above our other leg. Switch our hands, come across. Switch our hands, come across. Switch our hands, come across. So it's a nice, slow movement. It's very similar to our waving hands and clouds movement as we move our torso side to side. So this feeling should be very comfortable, and you should be ready to do this here in a little bit when we do waving hands and clouds. All right, come back to the middle. Now it's time to do some movements for our hips. So seated, what we do is we'll place our heel out front, and then we'll bring our foot back to seated position. Now, if we were doing this standing, it would look like this. I shift the weight to one leg, I place my heel forward, pause in the middle, and I put my toe back. And then there's the hand movement that goes opposite of where the foot is. So when my foot's forward, my hands are back, and when my toe is back, my hands are forward. Now, we're not going to be able to put our leg like this, as just like when we're standing, because again, that may push us out of our chair, and that's not what we're trying to do here. So we go from heel into back to the seated position, but we can add our hands. Whenever we're standing, we shift our weight to one leg so we can move the other. And I encourage you that even though we're sitting, the leg that's not moving, I encourage you to push that foot into the floor, even if it's just a little bit. And if you experience it with that foot pushed into the floor, I think you'll see that it's easier to move the other leg. It acts as kind of a stabilizer for us, okay? So whichever leg you want to start with, put weight on the opposite foot, heel forward, and our hand's going to come back, and then let's come, we can raise those arms back to center. Now push this other leg into the ground so we can move the other leg and back to center. Switch the weight. So again, we're going to notice what an amazing leg exercise it is, even seated. You know, we think, oh, seated, that's the easy way. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think seated Tai Chi is more physically challenging than the standing Tai Chi. So how did that feel, Miss Doris, to push that foot into the floor as you move that other foot?
Yeah, I was trying to keep up with you. Can you do that again, Jennifer?
Yeah, let's do that again. So let's pick our right foot. Let's push that right foot into the floor, and it's up to you how much. And let's skip our hand movements for right now. So we're going to push that right foot into the floor.
Okay.
Now we're going to take the left heel and place it out in front of us
Okay.
while this is still pushing into the floor, and then we're going to bring it back to seated position.
Okay.
Now we're going to push our left foot into the floor and then take our right heel out forward and bring that leg back. Now we're going to push our right foot into the floor and left heel out and left foot back.
Okay.
Push, heel, back, push, heel, back. Push, heel, back, push, heel, back.
Okay.
Push. You feeling it?
Heel.
Got that rhythm now, don't you?
Yeah. Back.
Push, heel, back. Push, heel, back.
Okay.
Push, heel, back.
I think I get confused with the hand, Rob. Heel.
Every time we add hands and feet together, it's just like patting your head and rubbing your belly. It just makes us all confused. There's too much going on. So we don't have to do that hand. What we can do if we want to do that hand motion is we can do the leg, what we just did right now. Push, heel, back. So we can do that. We can do 3 on each side. And then we can go back to that seated position. And if we want to do that a hand movement, we can take our hands back and bring our hands front. That's 1. We can do it 3 times, or we can do it 6 times.
Okay.
So that's the hand movement that goes with that leg exercise. So then that gives us an opportunity to move the arms.
Right.
If you want to do a little something, you can push this leg into the ground whenever your hands are up, and then the other leg into the ground when our hands are back. Left foot push, right foot push. Left foot push, right foot push. So you're not even moving your feet, but you're getting some leg action with that hand. How does that?
Okay.
You like that?
Yes. I think I can follow that.
So
good. I'm working up a sweat. I'm trying to keep up with you. Okay.
I told you, seated Tai Chi is harder than standing Tai Chi. And it's for several things, but pushing those feet into the ground, that really engages these muscles. These muscles right here in your quadricep, your thigh muscle, that's a big muscle. And so when you get it working and moving, you really start burning some calories. You really get some things going in your body. So you get hot fast when you get these big muscles heated up. So
that's good when you can work up a sweat. That's good.
Yes, and seated. Who would? I mean, everybody always thinks, "Oh, seated exercise, that's too easy. I can't do. I'm not doing that. I'm not even going to waste my time." But it really is a good exercise. Okay, so the next one for our hips, it will look different than the one standing, but I always say that this seated version is something everyone should do. And I'm going to show you the standing version. And I'm doing this on the lower body exercises because they do look different than those upper body exercises. So on the standing version of this, we stack our hands, we move those hands in the direction of a weight shift, and then we lift that foot and tap it out. We switch our hands, shift the weight, tap out. Okay, so that's the standing version. Well, we're not going to sit here and tap that leg out. If I did that too many times, I'm pretty sure my hip would pop out of place. That's just not a comfortable movement for me, and it's not really a safe movement. So what we do to stretch the hip flexors for this one is we lay our knee out to the side. So if you lay that knee out, you should feel a stretch in your hip. Bring that knee up, and now lay the other knee out, stretching that hip. Do you feel that stretch in your hip?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if we want to add the hand movements to that movement, we're doing the same thing as we did as if we were standing. So we stack our hands and we push our hands in the direction of the weight shift, flip our hands, and take them back across. Now notice I stopped at the edge of my frame. I didn't try to go way over here. Why? Because if I try to go way over here, I'm going to start falling out my chair. And again, that goes against what we're trying to do here. So even seated, even standing, we move and stay within our frame. So we go in that direction, and we flip, and we go in the other direction. In the name of doing something with my legs and my hands at the same time, the direction I'm going to push this foot into the floor, and this leg is going to lay out. Bring it back, switch my hands, go in that direction as that one lays out. Bring it back, shift. Are you getting the hang of that?
Mm-hmm. I'm moving too much because you're steady. You're making, yeah. I'm twisting my body too much.
You got to stay still, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know that you. I'm looking at you, and I see that I'm moving.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Or we can do like we did before and do our hand motion side to side, getting that feel for staying within our frame. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm staying within my frame. A good indication is this arm right here. It's not going to go any further than this unless I start leaning.
Mm-hmm.
Unless I start really start reaching.
Yeah.
So that tells me how far my frame is. Here, switch, here. And so this arm right here tells me how far to go.
Okay.
Excuse me. Keeping my upright posture, staying within my frame. So we can do that, and we get an idea for what it feels like to stay within our frame.
Okay.
So, and then we can do the leg movement all by itself and not worry about doing hands and feet at the same time. Okay. So that's how we can break it down. And then what we can add a little bit to those hand movements. And when we go this way, then I'm pushing this foot into the floor. Push this foot and then release it. And as I come this way, I push this foot into the floor. Push. So see, the direction I'm going, that's the leg I push to the floor. When I switch my hands, I release it, come to the other side. Are you feeling the rhythm of that movement? Here. You're going to be tired tonight. You're going to sleep so good from all this good working out, right?
I'm sweating.
Practice that movement. Oh, goodness. got an email from the picture people. They want to tell me that my daughter's picture is ready. Oh, Miss Doris. Look at this. You see her?
Look how pretty that is. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh yeah. That's beautiful.
Well, I couldn't wait to look at it. Whenever I got that text that said your daughter's picture is ready to view, I was like, oh, I can't wait. Oh, she's gonna be so happy with that. What a beautiful picture.
That's beautiful. Oh.
Well, thank you. All right. Well, she looks just like me. So what can we expect?
Yes.
No,
the way she has her hair.
She doesn't look like me, but it's okay. I'm pretty in my own way. So there's that rhythm of here, pushing that foot and the direction, and then change.
I push this one down in the floor, come back to this one. I push this one down, and I want to move too much. Push this one down on this side, come back.
That's right. Very good.
Come back.
So these are for those moments when you don't have much room to move, but you still want to engage muscle. Anytime you're engaging muscle, that's how you make them stronger.
Okay, I need that.
Okay. So you don't have to be up and moving around to engage muscle. Pushing these feet into the ground, you can feel that muscle tightening up in your legs. You can feel your buttocks coming off the chair and coming back down as you push weight. You're working all this muscle here. You probably feel it right here in your shin as you just push weight, and then you're in control of how much weight you push into the floor, right? So just remember that we don't have to make it too complicated, but we are going through our warm-ups. And so those were for our hips, but we broke it down and just did hands and weight shift movement. But that laying the knee out, it really stretches that hip flexor. And sometimes if our hip flexor, our hip is too tight, it can make our back hurt whenever those are too tight, because they'll be pulling on our back and it will make our back hurt. So stretching our hip flexors can help alleviate back pain if you have back pain. So it's just a little something that you can do for yourself. Our next one is for our knees. And so talking about hand movements, we keep our hands in a loose fist, and we place that hand out there with a punch, bring it back to our hip, place it out there with a punch, bring it back to our hip. So that's the hand movement of our knee warm-up, is the punch. The hand movement is opposite of the foot that moves, just like in the in the other one, when our foot was out, our hands were back. That was opposite. So if this foot comes out, opposite foot
like a crisscross.
Opposite hand touch.
It's like a crisscross.
Yep, just opposite across the body. Those two come out, those two come back, those two come out, those two come back. Is that a little bit easier to do that one?
Yeah, like this one, I can follow this.
Feet and hands together. So what do you think you're going to be doing with this leg that's left behind? What would be a good thing to do to engage muscle?
Okay, the one left behind. Let's see.
The one that's not going out. The one that's right here.
Okay. Well,
I know. Go ahead.
We're probably pushing in the floor. I don't know. What we do?
You win a prize.
Oh,
After class, after I stop the recording, I want you to give me your mailing address and I'm going to send you a prize because you got it right. I am challenging you today because we're doing something different than we usually do in class. And so for you to know that, that's awesome. I'm so proud of you. Yes, you push that foot into the floor and you punch that opposite. You bring out this other leg and punch opposite.
Mm-hmm. Just the opposite.
Just like that.
Back.
So I know that feels like a lot going on with pushing it into the floor, punching, and bringing that foot out. You can do it. And then if you ever feel overwhelmed, break apart the parts and do one thing at the time. So just do your punching. And then just do your leg out and back in. Leg out, back in.
Okay. Just
break it apart if it gets overwhelming.
Leg out and back in. Then when I want to do my crisscross, then I do put this one out and then go across. Bring this one back.
Anytime you move that leg out, push the other one into the floor. Push.
Right.
Push. When you push that leg into the floor, it becomes a stabilizer for you. So it actually helps you move that other leg easier when it's pushed into the floor. So yes, you're engaging more muscle, but it should make it a little easier for you.
Yeah, because when you say pushing in the floor, it make it flatter, give you more support. Because see, if you don't realize you can have that heel up,
you are writing the book. You are saying all the right things.
Okay, I noticed you. I'm looking at you. I can see you make it so easy. When you put that in the floor. Because see, if you don't realize, you can have that heel up. And so when you sit down, so you make sure it's flat. Okay, so
and when you're standing, if your heel is ever up, that typically will push your body forward. So it is good to have that foot planted with that heel down so that your weight is planted and you're not kind of pushing forward. It's almost like, have you ever walked in high heels?
Yes.
Do you think it's easy?
When I was young, I didn't have no problem, but now I
I got you on that. You are fighting an unnatural body placement, aren't you, when you have high heels, because it's got you up like this and you're trying to fight it, to keep yourself upright, because what it's wanting to do is to push your body forward because your heel is way high up.
Right. So right.
Why we talk about planting our feet, and that grounds us and we're less likely to fall. That's one reason why I wear flat shoes, is I'm grounded. I'm connected to my floor. I'm not trying to have those heels that's trying to push me forward. All right, so
I feel all that in here.
Well, good. All right, so just now we kind of tapped our toe forward, right? We tapped our leg out. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to scooch back in my chair just a little bit, because what I'm going to do, and I'm going to still have my good posture. I'm not going to lay back and get comfortable. I'm still going to have my good posture. I want to still be able to touch the ground. I'm going to lift my leg and push my heel out. So if you need to touch the back of your chair, that's okay.
I feel that in my calf. Oh, you said push this heel out. Oh my goodness, Rob. I mean,
you should feel that in your whole bottom of your leg, back and front, right?
Yes.
Especially the front.
Oh my goodness.
So push that heel out and bring it back.
Okay.
Push that heel out. So you may have heard before to point your toe back towards your face, towards your head, towards your body. That's the same thing. So if you're pushing your heel out, your toe is kind of pointing back towards you. So
Yes.
it's the same thing, but thinking about pushing your heel out may be easier than pulling your toe back towards you, even though it's the same kind of movement.
Ooh, they're pulling everything. Ooh,
So
ooh,
again, we can use our stabilizer leg, push that foot into the floor, and then push that heel out, and it may help you feel more stable. However, it's not as important here because we scooted back in our chair a little bit. So the seat of our chair is holding our leg to be more stable for us to lift. See, if you were to scoot back on the edge of your chair and push that heel out, you see how much of that leg muscle you had to use just to lift your leg up? So when you scoot back in your chair and you allow the chair to support your leg, then you don't have to use that muscle to lift that leg up and push the heel out. That's why I had you scoot back in your chair. So your chair could support your legs rather than you being scooted up here and having to use your own power and use your own muscles to lift that leg up.
How far are you lifting? How far are you going up? Ooh.
Hold on, I'll turn to the side and you can look from the side. So you don't have to copy me exactly. You can do what you're comfortable doing. So here I'm scooted back in my chair. See my foot still able to touch the floor.
Right.
And I'm going to lift and push that foot into the floor. So it's pretty much straight out, isn't it? It's still maybe closer to the ground here. But you do what's most comfortable for you. If it's not comfortable to lift your leg very high, if you just want to barely lift it off the floor and point your toe towards your face, pushing that heel out. Try a few different things and see what feels most comfortable for you. But those are for our knees.
Okay.
Those two, the one where we placed our foot forward. And then there's the punch. You know, we did that punch as we put that foot out, the opposite punch. We can do that here too. So when we have our heel out, we can opposite punch, bring it back, heel out, opposite punch. So my foot, I'm noticing it's not straight out. It's down. You see that? It's at a down angle. Because if it were straight out, I'd have to actually lift my leg. And in this situation, I'm not trying to use all my power to lift that leg. I'm just trying to bend this knee, flex that foot, and feel that stretch there in my shin. So you can punch here opposite of the foot that you're placing out there. All right. Any questions about those knee exercises?
That's good.
Okay. So the last one is for our ankles. And when we're in a seated position in a chair, it's hard to do heel, toe, heel, toe. If you have very flexible ankles, then you may be able to do heel, toe. I have pretty flexible ankles, but a lot of people can't do that toe. So what you can do is, again, scooch back in your chair so that the chair supports your thighs, supports your leg muscles. Lift your feet in the air and go rocking those feet, heel, toe.
Okay.
Heel, toe. And then you can do like windshield wipers. And this is working on the range of motion of our ankles. We can scoot up in our chair where our feet are grounded and go big toe, little toe, side to side. Our goal here.
Are you stretching your legs out, or you just doing it? Just
my legs are bent. I'm turned to the side again. And I'm just going heel, toe. So my feet are on the floor.
okay.
Heel, toe. I mean, not heel, toe. Big toe, little toe. Big toe, little toe. So I'm going side to side. Side to side. Or you can do it all with your feet in the air. So you can put those feet in the air and just rotate in circles, those ankles, heel toe, back and forth this way, windshield wipers. Every which way your ankles move them that way. And then that's an ankle.
Okay, both of them going the same way.
And you can do one at a time.
I see it now. I see it.
But because you're seated, you can do both. Okay. Because you don't need your feet to stand up. When we do our ankle exercise standing, we have to shift our weight to one foot, do one foot, and then shift our weight to the other and do the movements on the other foot. But when we're seated, we can do it that way, one at a time. Or because we don't need our feet to stand, we can do them at the same time.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
It's whatever makes you feel comfortable. Now, in doing that, to show you, I did notice doing my legs or my feet at the same time really tired out my thigh muscles. I really felt those legs getting tired.
Mm-hmm.
So one at a time, and again, you can push this foot into the floor, the one that you're not using. That may help you feel more stable as you move. You can do that. So, you have some choices there. That was a workout in itself, just doing our warm-up stretches, wasn't it, Miss Doris?
Yes. Work up a sweat, yes.
So we know that we can always take it to a chair and still get a really good workout. We can do our warm-ups and still get a good exercise session.
Yeah, it's just like a good exercise, that warm-up.
I think it's harder than doing it standing. So now when we get to our Tai Chi, we make sure we have that nice, good posture. Let me scoot back so you can see my feet. Nice, good posture. Our feet are shoulder width apart. Not carrying any tension in our shoulders. We're going to have our hands to our side. And we're going to do commencement. So we bring our hands up, facing each other, and down. Come back towards our bodies, and up. Bring those hands out, and bring them back.
Okay.
That's the handwork of commencement. Again, commence, up, down, in, up, out, and back in. Now open and close, which is a breath. So inhale, our hands open, exhale, our hands close. So let's put those two together. Commence, up, down, in, up, out, back in, open and close. Single whip. We push those hands out. turn them away from us, and separate. This is always hard for me to do seated because I forget which hand to look at. So I look at my left hand. I'm speaking to you in lies because I'm speaking in mirror image. So this is my left hand as far as you're concerned, but it's really my right hand in real life. So I push my hands out, turn, separate, and my eyes follow my left hand. So the first time I do single whip, that's the hand I look at, is my left hand. Bring those hands down. Now we're ready for waving hands and clouds. So this hand stays down by my hip. This one comes up cross body. And then I turn my torso to just, remember, staying in my frame just above that leg. Then I switch my hands and turn back to the other side. Switch, turn, switch, turn, switch, turn, switch, turn, and last time, switch, turn. Come to the middle for open and close. Single whip again. Push out, turn, separate. This time follow the right hand. Come down. Ready for waving hands and clouds. Switch hands, turn, switch, turn, switch, turn, switch, turn, switch, turn. Last time, switch, turn to the middle for open and close. Close it out. So those are our basic 6 Tai Chi. How was it doing that seated? Was it easier than doing it standing?
To me, it was. Seems like I can concentrate better when I'm seated. I don't know. It just may be in my mind. But
no, I think it's easier. You want to know why I think it's easier? I think it's easier because we're not worried about what's going on with our feet. Our feet are just there being stable for us. They're in a nice, stable distance apart. We're engaged to the floor. And all we have to worry about is our hand movements. So let's do it.
Because when I'm standing, because you almost stay in one place, and I have a habit of moving for some reason.
Are your steps really big? You think your steps are maybe too big?
Yeah, because I don't have enough space, and then I said I got to come back over here. Yeah.
I think what happens is we always think bigger is better, you know? And so we live in that world where if it's bigger, it's better, you know, if it's more, it's better, if it's faster, it's better. And so we just get in that mindset. And so we come to Tai Chi class and we're like, yeah, we're going to really do it. And I'm going to do it so good. So I'm going to take these really big steps because that's how good I'm going to do Tai Chi. And then we get ourselves in a bind because we step too far out and then we're no longer stable.
Exactly. And then I got to come back in. I'm too far over. I'm out of my bind.
So you feel like you're not stable. If you're way too wide, it's hard to recover from that position. You really have to push off to go and you know, step again when you get too wide. And so even if you shift weight, lift a foot, and almost put it exactly where it was, remember this. It's not where you're going that's important. What's important in our Tai Chi is that we are shifting weight. So if I'm shifting weight to this leg, lifting this foot and putting it back down, shifting weight, lifting this foot and putting it back down. It's the weight shifting that's important. Lifting that foot off the ground is kind of a confirmation that says, yes, ma'am, you shifted all that weight. You didn't leave any weight left on that foot because you've lifted it up. So you experience that full weight transfer. So when you start stepping, shift, step. You see how small that step was? Shift, step, shift. So I'm going from just outside of hip width to hip width. Shift, step just outside hip width, shift at hip width. So I'm not going very far fast. It might as well be me shifting, lifting, putting back down, shifting, lifting, putting back down. But hey, to keep it interesting, we're going to go places. Tiny steps. So just challenge yourself to do those really small steps. Maybe find yourself a space that's not very big and put it in your head that you can't hit that table. So you got to make sure your steps are small so that you don't get too close to that table quickly. So maybe that will help you keep your steps small. But it's a really small step whenever you do it standing. But for the sake of seated Tai Chi, you have a main focus of your hand movement. Let's do it again, and then I'm going to talk about our feet. So here, let's do our basic 6 seated. And commence. Up, down, in, up, out, back in, open and close. Single whip, push, turn, separate, following that left hand. Waving hands in clouds. Switch, turn, switch, turn, switch, turn, switch, turn, switch, turn, switch, turn, switch, turn. To the middle for open and close. Single whip, push, turn, separate, fall on the right hand this time. Waving hands in clouds. Switch, turn, switch, turn, switch, turn, switch, turn, switch, turn, switch, turn. Open and close. Close it out. So that's our hand work. How can we engage our feet? You know the answer. Pushing them into the ground. So once we start, when we come down, we push one leg into the floor. Each time we change direction with our hands, we go push, 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 push. So when I come down, I push my left foot. In, I push my right. Up, I push my left. Out, I push my right. In, I push my left. Open, close. So that's how you engage your legs whenever you do your basic 6, seated.
Turn sideways and do the legs again for me, Jennifer.
Say that again?
Turn sideways and do your leg. I didn't see when you.
Okay.
How did you do your legs when you?
Now remember, I'm pushing my feet into the ground, or
right.
as I go. Okay. So I come up,
Uh-huh.
down, push left,
Mhm.
in, push right, up, push left, out, push right, in,
Okay.
push left, release, open, close.
Okay. So you're just pushing them in the floor. You're not moving,
Push.
pushing in.
Yeah, I'm not moving my feet or anything. I'm just
Okay.
pushing a little bit of weight
Okay.
into the floor.
I was like, I thought you was moving them. Okay. Okay.
So that's how you do that seated to engage your legs. All right, so let's cool down. Let's give ourselves a little fist massage. So now you've had an experience with seated, and next week you'll say, good gracious, I'll bring my shoes so I can have the easy way and do it standing.
Oh my goodness.
Now, tense and release. And no, remember what this feels like. We don't want to live our life with tension held. Let it go. That feels so much better. Tense and release. All right, let's inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Now we take our right fist, that represents our strength. Our left fingers together represents our friendship. Our thumb in is our humility. And we put those together in mutual respect. We say namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. So
Ooh,
I'm glad that
I got to wipe my face. I got to get this.
I'm glad we got to do it seated today. I'm going to stop the recording because I'm going to get your address. Hold on just a second.